So I've just got my refrigeration vacuum pump poorly connected to my 124's interior vacuum connection, and poorly by design, because I don't want to pull too much of a vacuum, because that's just going to destroy every vacuum pod in here, because that thing is way too powerful. So I've just sealed the vacuum line into its port just using a piece of paper. It's a rather loose connection, but it's working nonetheless. My economy gauge says so. Now, with power applied, I can actually hear these recirc flaps working. I don't know if that will show up on the video. That's applying and releasing. I know that one stage of those dual stage vacuum pods is burst, because when I put this in 0, which closes the outside air off, I have a significant vacuum leak. That is not news. That's why I always shut it off in that position if I'm not using the air conditioner, because that position leaves those flaps in the open position. But anyway, I can't actually reproduce the vacuum leak that I was hearing before. There's certainly no high-pitched whistle going on in here. These positions for the headlight leveling, they appear to be working. I don't know. I guess more fault finding is required. What is causing that whistling noise? Maybe it's not a vacuum leak where I think it is. Maybe it's somewhere else. How embarrassing. Well, 230 something kilometers ago, I unplugged this and I forgot to plug it back in. And of course, now that I'm holding the camera, one of those tabs breaks off. Beautiful. But that's not my whistling cause. Well, 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 what do we have here? This rubber connecting piece between the vacuum port on the intake manifold and this one-way valve has completely split in half. Now, I don't believe that's a genuine MB piece, and it was something that I found at the time of putting that back together. Genuine ones I don't believe split like that. I'm just having a look at my red 124 to make sure there is even a one-way valve there, and there is. So at least I got that correct. I'm not 100% sure, I'm just replicating how it was when I first got the cars. Wow, how embarrassing. So, a bit of a seniors moment there. Last time I was playing with this car, I unplugged the EHA valve and I forgot to plug it back in. And I seem to recall at the time I also forgot to tighten up the fuel connections, and I'm glad I actually tested it before I put the hood down and assumed everything's okay, because yeah, it was quite a bit of a fuel leak after I discovered that I forgot to tighten that up. You really don't want that happening when you're test driving your car you've just been working on and then it catching on fire, and then it's basically all over for these cars. But yeah, EHA valve is plugged back in and that enormous vacuum leak is now repaired. How embarrassing once again. Well, these things happen. Let's see how it runs now. This has always had an issue with starting when it's been sitting for ages. Fuel pressure is lost. It's kind of a dodgy fuel distributor, but it is what it is. But having said that, it just started up fantastically. I obviously haven't left it long enough for that issue to be present. Normally this car sits for a very extended period, so it's, yeah, I guess if you drive it once a week, it's acceptable. economy gauge is actually going all the way left now, so that just proves I had a vacuum leak and I was too silly to realise it at the time. Oh well. Yeah, so that's the vacuum whistle solved, I guess. The only thing I need to do is replace this blower motor, and let that be a lesson that you should periodically look at your 30-something-year-old cars under the hood, because rubber parts perish regardless of you driving the car or not. I don't think that hose connector piece was genuine MB. I don't know where I got it from, but the genuine MB ones, I don't think they split like that. That's kind of like Chinese rubber that does that. Yeah, so this car's good to go. Poor old Red hasn't been started for a damn long time. That fuel system had completely depressurized. I thought I'd actually forgotten to plug something in from the last time I disabled it when I went away. But that wasn't the case, it was just a completely depressurized fuel system. I do need to take this for a drive at some stage. This M113 is quite the piece of crap, to be honest. When you leave this car sitting for a while, it only runs on 7 cylinders and there's a severe lifter tick. It's a shame it's only done 130,000 kilometers, because I'd be very tempted to remove this 4.3 litre engine and put a 5 litre in here. But I do want to keep this car original, so I'll have to check it out when I change that left side camshaft that's chewed and it's a roller rocker. I'm pretty sure the misfire is coming from the right hand bank though, so I don't know what that's going to be. I didn't see any damage to that camshaft and all of those lifters looked good. All the spark plugs are new, all the coils have been swapped around, the problem doesn't seem to move, and I'm pretty sure it's the rear cylinder on the right hand bank. Yeah. So now that it's warmed up, the lifter tick is gone and it's running on 8 cylinders. Makes it kind of difficult to work out what the hell is going on with this thing. It's not really that urgent. My plans for it are to fit these 210 wheels that have near new tyres on it. Tim's going to polish up some headlights for me. I'm going to get the front and rear bumpers repaired and resprayed, and then I'm going to take it for rego, and then I can actually start driving it around. That's going to happen rather shortly. It's just a case of being too lazy to get the bumpers off. That's the only thing we're waiting on at the moment. I've got everything ready to go. And yeah, I think this thing might actually appreciate getting some exercise. It really does not like sitting around. Well, none of my cars do. Long-term plans, I don't know. I just wanted a decent 210 V8. I almost got what I wanted. The paint's pretty reasonable, the interior's pretty reasonable. Engine's kind of a piece of shit, but I can fix it. It's got low mileage, not that that really matters, because you can freaking change that to whatever you want, because it's only stored on the cluster on these. And it's never been registered in WA before, so technically I could put whatever the hell I want on there, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that, because yeah, this is just a long-term keeper.